Renee, it was football overload this weekend, starting last Thursday with the Cowboys losing to Tom Brady, who is not washed. Still good. Newsflash. But there were some surprising results as well. Aaron Rodgers, who it just in his overall demeanor is a washed-looking fellow. I'm sure he's not washed. And his Packers looked out of sync against the Saints. The Browns look like they might stomp the Chiefs, but Pat Mahomes put the kibosh on that. We will talk about his belly in a little bit. Plus, we had some major upsets in college football. Plus, Djokovic losing his chance at a single calendar Grand Slam. And then, man, it is a battle of teens on the women's side at the U.S. Open. Lots of stuff to start with. Let's start with the NFL. Tom Brady. I watch Cowboys games for two reasons. One, my mom is inexplicably a Cowboys fan. And then my good friend Jason Gallagher is a Cowboys fan. And I just want to know how much he might or might not be hurting. And then for this particular game, I tuned in basically to see, okay, what's up with Tom Brady? And it was wild watching it and then checking in on social media because you could feel people just like hanging their heads like, fuck, he's still good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
How is he still good?
It's almost like how people turn into like the Jake Paul fights or the Conor McGregor fights. There's a group of them that tune in to see those people succeed and to see them do awesome. But there's also a large group that tune in just to see them fail. And it's interesting because Tom Brady, it's almost like he can tell that there's that energy behind a certain group. He ain't going for it. It's like that TB12. He is a poster board for it. It clearly works because every year, like the Patriots, think about the Patriots statement now 2 years later then, because every year people think, surely this is the year where Tom Brady doesn't look like Tom Brady. And it ain't 2021. I can tell you that.
Let me just say that Daniel Jones threw 50% less interceptions or turned the ball over 50% less than Tom Brady. And what does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. I can't say. Let's go. Let's go to Saints Green Bay Packers. A lot of buzz about this game because of the off-season churn and the drama with Aaron Rodgers. Does he want to stay with the Packers? Does he want out? How is that going to affect anything that happens? The freaking Saints just demolished the Packers. They came ready to play, absolutely embarrassed us today, said head coach Matt LaFleur. By the way, when he said this, go watch it. I think he chokes up. Like he legitimately had a tear in his eye. Rodgers would later say I'll let the coach use words like that, but was pretty open about how badly everybody played, including himself. He put himself front and center there. It's time for a haircut. Is that the way to? How do we That's the only thing.
Will that help?
Let's switch the energy. I think we need different energy.
Well, Aaron Rodgers. It's athletes really have this thing about you train how you play and you play how you train. So with this off season and so much going on, we saw Aaron Rodgers was living his best life. I was actually here for it. He was going on trips with his girl. They was at cabins, karaoke. They were going on walks on the trail, and he was in the back of
a pickup truck. He was in the bed of a pickup truck riding around to get
completely
beer.
Unbothered.
It seemed fun.
He was living his best life, and the reason I say that is because sometimes that stuff comes back to bite you in a sense of your week one game. I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers might have a bad season. This is his worst quarterback rating at a 36.8 since 2014. He'll clearly bounce back, but I don't know if I'm surprised just from the athlete mentality of when everyone's not on the same page, that shows up sometimes on the field in a sense of the chemistry, and maybe they didn't have enough time to build enough chemistry yet. So the season's not over, but I'm just not surprised.
How does that, obviously one of us is an elite athlete and it's not me and has played at the highest levels, but when somebody has off-season something, right? Drama with the team, friction with how they're being used with their contract, etc. Yeah. Y'all are incredible at compartmentalizing, but how does that bleed into what you're trying to do when you do take the court or the field or whatever?
No, completely. Compartmentalizing is my best friend in a sense of in sports. You just have to do that. But there's like chemistry is a thing that's built over time. It's kind of like when LeBron James and Chris Bosh went to the Miami Heat. Everyone thought they were going to win instantly. Like, look at all that talent. You got to win right now. It doesn't work that way. Like sports, you have to build a certain thing. Like it's the trust, it's the camaraderie, it's the chemistry, it's the timing. And so I think in football, timing is everything, as we know. And so if you haven't built that relationship with your wide receivers yet, with the timing on the plays, it's going to show up. And then you are going to have the teammates that's like, all right, bro, come on with it. Like, all right, enough vacation. Like, I would be the one to text in the group chat to Aaron Rodgers, like, you done yet? You ready to come hoop? But the thing is, Aaron Rodgers was actually standing up for his teammates. So I think it was probably the reverse for him. They probably were texting him like, yo, bro, I appreciate what you're doing, because even when he came back, we all remember the speech he gave. He let everyone know exactly why I wasn't coming back. And so I don't know. I think with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to have his teammates' support. So I think it's more so about just the timing and building the chemistry that just takes time to do.
Next up, Pat Mahomes is a Chiefs rally 33-29 over the Cleveland Browns. Let me just say, I believe in moral victories. I am a moral victory person. I understand that the Browns are now on year 17 of not winning an opener. Fine. But if I'm a Browns fan, I'm like, hey, we look pretty good. Let's tighten up the defense and we'll figure it out. Like we gave Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs a run for their money. Now, all of that is important, but what I think is more important is the realization that there is a term, water belly. We were discussing Pat Mahomes. I was like in the pre-pro meeting, I was like, Pat Mahomes has a little gut, right? Little belly protruding over the waistband.
Lord.
And Renee, you said he has what?
I said he has a what? I was like, you mean his water belly?
I love it.
Yeah.
What is water belly?
Okay, so I've been talking about water bellies for a long time, since I was young, because everyone knows when you chug a lot of water, it makes you get, yeah, if you chug a lot of water, all of a sudden, you might get that little hangover. You might get that little bloop over the belt buckle. So I used to always, when you push your stomach out and you can fake pregnant, everyone's done it. You can get that natural water belly when you drink a lot of water. So I think James Harden lives with a water belly. We saw he had a water belly in Houston. He got traded and the water belly was gone. It was no longer there in Brooklyn. Everyone was wondering, where did the weight loss come from? I'm like, yo, that gotta be a water belly. You drink a lot of water. We hydrate, people. That's a water belly. Patrick Mahomes, you carry it well.
Now, I will say that this water belly would seem to fit what happened in the game, because, again, the Chiefs were getting run by the Browns. Halftime comes. Maybe Patrick Mahomes goes to the bathroom, comes back, and all of a sudden his clothes are fitting a little better. He's able to move around a little easier. And that ball is moving around. Here's another. It's funny you mentioned James Harden, because I have a similar thing, body shape term, which I call round face syndrome or round face disease. A lot of Asians have this. I have this. My brother has it. And what round face is if you just have like a round shaped head, you always look like you're carrying a few extra pounds, even if it's not the case. And I think that's why it's like James Harden with the beard. It's a great idea, because he has cheeks. He is like Eric Gordon's another guy like this, a very round face. Carmelo Anthony, very round face. And it just, people would always be like, oh man, Mel is out of shape. I'm like, he's not out of shape. He just has a round head.
That's a good point. That's actually a really good point. Something that people have to stop saying about athletes. They're not out of shape, even if you can look at them and think that they got a little baby fat on them. I just want people to know that in general, the worst out of shape athlete that you guys may see is probably in amazing shape in general, if you're looking like for visual. But round face, Jason, never heard of it. I never heard of it. But as you say it, 100%. I could see how that could be a thing, especially some people, the first place they gain weight is in their face. It's unfortunate. But if they start to put on weight, you can literally see it on their face. Some people, it might go to your love handles. So for the round face people, if they do get a little more cheeks, Yeah, we got to stop body shaming athletes. I'm standing up here right now for
Yes.
the athletes.
Thank
this
you.
must stop. We have to stop
Thank
body
you.
shaming athletes, the round face, the water bellies. What are we doing here?
Bellies. Water bellies. I love it. But we did all notice it. We did all notice.
And you know what, though? As far as the quarterback position is concerned, I don't ever think of them about chiseled gods anyway. Like, as I look around the league at the Roethlisbergers of the world, I just don't think action figures when I think of them. So maybe it's best that quarterbacks have water bellies because they got to stay hydrated out there. They're talking a lot. They're calling the plays, audibles. I'm just saying, I don't know.
He's 25 too. He's a young guy, Mahomes. Like, you, at that age, you can run off, even if he's not like a gym rat.
Right.
You're young. You can run off youth fuel at that point.
And I mean, by the way, he got 3 touchdowns, 337 yards, 27 for 36. So if he does have a water belly or if he does have a little bloop, it don't matter. He out there getting busy, baby.
His running touchdown was like a 40-yard run, and he's like Steve Nash in that, like, he doesn't seem fast, but he just makes the decision at the right time to change directions. And it's the perfect right decision.
Yeah. He knows exactly where he needs to get to. He gets there and it's over. Like, yeah, I agree. It's like he's not going to razzle dazzle you, but he gets it done.
Water belly and all. Next, with the legal gambling market expanding, sports betting hits record numbers during NFL's opening season. GeoComply Solutions, which is a Canadian geolocation company, said Monday that it recorded a record number of transactions placed between Thursday night, when the NFL season began, with Cowboys-Bucks, through 7 p.m. on Sunday. 58.2 million geolocation transactions across 18 states and Washington, D.C., 126% increase from the same period over 2020 in the NFL season. The states that saw the most activity: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois, and Arizona. This is just more evidence that sports betting is here. What a turnaround from a few years ago when it was literally just not a thing you talked about, and now it is just absolutely part of sports in general and part of the revenue streams for all the leagues that are participating in this.
It's wild what's going on right now. I mean, it's really wild because there's no putting the genie back in the bottle in a sense of going back. This is a part of sports now. It's like a part of the sports culture. DraftKings generated $614 million in revenue in 2020 and expects to cash in $1 billion this year. Like, the numbers are crazy. So it's crazy. Imagine a business that's making that much money. I just can't wait to see this play out. I know we've talked about this before, but the way it's going, the trajectory of how it's going, 81% spike from 2019. I mean, that's dramatic. It's changing the sports culture like at such a rate that I'm just curious, like where is it going to cut off if you got to think, because sports are ran on money now. I know people think sports is a game, but sports is really a business first. If the DraftKings of the world are really bringing in that certain type of revenue, they're going to run the sports world. Like, it's going to be everything is going to be revolving around betting instead of the betting revolving around sports. I know it might sound crazy, but money moves things.
Here's the thing: that one, this is an activity, aside from whether this is good or bad, this is an activity, whether it's legal or illegal, that people just want to take part in, number one. And two, I think you're exactly right in terms of, like, we don't understand. We're in the middle of it now. We don't understand how this will shape sports going forward. Like, yes, more money coming in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we don't understand what the real effects are going to be because, to your point, I mean, this is a lot of money that comes separate from TV contracts, from all the other partnerships that come with so many other strings attached. This is just a faucet of money that we're skimming off the people who want to gamble, and people across the globe want to gamble. So when these numbers, as we watch these numbers rise, what are the effects going to be? What are the effects going to be when we start regularly going into the $1 billion regions? We don't know yet, but it is it's fascinating to think about because, yeah, I agree with you. We don't know how this will change sports.
And we don't know, like, think about, too, when now DraftKings is sponsoring jerseys, they're sponsoring the commercials, they're sponsoring the events. It's going to be to a point where they can, like, betting can almost monopolize certain things because who can keep up sponsorship-wise with them? Like, if you have companies that have so much money that they can pour into it, we already see DraftKings on podcasts. We see DraftKings on Turner. You know, like, they're already everywhere. So it's like they're going to start betting, the whole betting world, everything is going to start positioning around it because, like you said, to get those billion-dollar incomes, you usually have to have a 4-year deal or something. You have to show X amount of game. This is every year they can make
every
$1
year,
billion.
It just comes in. It just comes in and you don't have to do anything. It doesn't matter
Crazy.
who the stars are in that particular game. You don't have to worry about selling a particular game to your broadcast partners. You don't have to worry about them selling commercials. It's just the activity that is already going on and would go on no matter essentially who is playing. It's a spigot of money and we don't know what will happen with it. Let's go to college football. I want to talk about something that we brought up in pre-pro. The Ohio State Buckeyes were upset by the Oregon Ducks, 35-28. OSU did not play particularly well, but a lot of people are blaming the performance on a Buckeyes drum major who came running down the ramp out of the tunnel and just goes headfirst into the ground, which is an incredibly funny video if you want to look it up on social media.
Imagine this poor guy, first game of the season. I'm running out there leading the charge and bloop. That's the worst thing that could have happened, Jason. And I had to post it because my dad is from Ohio. We have Buckeyes everywhere in our family. So I had to post it to my story and say, like, man, it was a tough day for Ohio State fans. And Mama James, shouts to LeBron's mom, she's cracking up. I had to send her my condolences. Like, I know that was a hard blow all around. Like, they had a tough game. They took it to heart. And for some reason, Ohio State fans thought that this drum major had something to do with the poor performance of the football players. Now,
okay, yeah.
Come on, Jason. Sports fans, we, like, athletes and sports fans, got to be the most superstitious people known to man because if anything goes wrong, that's why things went wrong.
He comes off the ramp and it's like, I've been there before where the top half of your body is going faster than your feet and you are just, and you're trying to catch up, but you can't. And then he just goes down.
And it's not level. It's not level. People have to.
And it could have been worse. Like, he could have gone into the stanchion. He misses the stanchion, which is lucky. I'll say this, like, you know, as an athlete, sports, anybody that is involved in sports, as a player or as a fan or as a whatever, you're superstitious, period. It's hard to win. Sometimes, you know, luck plays an outsized role in winning and losing. You can be the most well-coached, most prepared, most whatever team, and a bounce of the ball can change everything, right? So luck matters. I was telling you guys this before in pre-pro, like when I would watch Knicks games as a kid, if the Knicks hit a shot when I was in a certain position, I would freeze and not move until
Jason, that is wild, Jason.
I would sit there, like if I had a bowl of cereal, like, and I had just taken a spoonful, I would sit there like with the bowl of cereal positioned like the spoon up. I would not move.
There's no way.
I would do that. And listen, it's insane that people would blame him, but also it makes sense, doesn't it? Come on. Didn't you have any superstitions as a player? You didn't have any like things?
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I might be like, when I was a player, I was one of those, I have a routine and I stick to it. I'm eating at a certain time. I'm taking my nap at a certain time. I roll up to the gym at a same time. And, you know, they say certain athletes, you can set your clock by them. If you see them walk in, you know it's 5:30. If you see them leaving, you know it's like, I was that athlete. So I don't know if routines are superstition, but when my routine was off, I felt uncomfortable.
So let's say if somebody, either you forgot something heading out or somebody calls you when you're in the middle of whatever and holds you up for 5 minutes, 10 minutes while you're in your routine, what would your reaction be?
It would depend. So like for me, I always try to figure out what's the quickest way to get back to the routine. So
Right.
basically, like if I'm needing to go back and get something, it's going to take too long. Not doing that. There's got to be shoes at the gym or something. Like I would wear old shoes before I'd go back and get the shoes with all the traction because that's just too many of the routine now
Old
falling
shoes.
apart. So I would have to get the no traction in the gym beaters before I would go back and get the game shoe. Because to me, then I've missed 3 routines instead of just the one or one thing. So for me, it's like what's the quickest way to get to the problem solving? One of the things that athletes is the family. When families come into town, families want to just have a blast. Oh, we're in LA. We're playing Vegas. Let's go. No, y'all go. I'll have to chill out. So I'm really like one of those, like I'm chilling.
Would they know your routine though, like after a while?
Oh,
and they would
yeah.
like, and I would imagine, because I've seen that, I've been around stuff like this where it's like somebody has a routine and the family knows about it and they will play the interference person for anybody else. They'll be like, they're in their routine. Don't bother them right now.
100%. And my parents, here's how how bad they are. If I'm texting in the family group chat and it's during my nap hour, everybody kind of goes silent. Like they won't even respond to try to engage because they don't want me to try to engage with them. So my family's like for real about that. They want to make sure, like they would never want it to be them. Everyone knows too, like I'm very routine-y. Even like I sit like, this is going to sound bad, but I'll even like on the planes, I like certain seats. Like if I can get.
I do the same thing. I need
Okay,
my seat.
perfect. Yeah, I need I get the same number on the same seat. So I like to just be in my
row
normal
12.
Listen,
like
I'm
row
10A, all right? Come on with it. Like that's what it is. So I'm a window girl. So that's what I do. And it doesn't matter if it's sports or not. I got rituals. I got routines.
The U.S. Open finals were this weekend, which is a thing that at certain points in my life I really, really cared about. I tried out to be a ball boy at the U.S. Open once. I did not make the cut. 25-year-old Daniil Medvedev of Russia, who is 6'6" and should think about a shooting guard in the NBA, handed Novak Djokovic a stunning 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 loss. It was a dominant performance from Medvedev, and it denied Djokovic a single season Grand Slam win. Djokovic said, I was glad it was over because the buildup for this tournament and everything that mentally, emotionally I had to deal with throughout the tournament in the last couple of weeks was just a lot. It was a lot to handle. On the women's bracket, pair of teenagers, incredible display from 2 young players, Emma Raducanu, who became the first qualifier ever to make it to the finals of a major, incredible, 18 years old, from Britain, beats 19-year-old Leylah Fernandez, a Filipino hero, overnight, basically, from Canada, 6'4", 6'3", making her the first British woman to win the U.S. Open since 1968, and the youngest Grand Slam winner since Maria Sharapova won Wimbledon at age 17 in 2004. It was a fun weekend. I love the U.S. Open. I was a big tennis person for a lot of my life, and the fact that we had 2, like an all Asian women's final, was super fun. And then one of them was Filipino, was amazing. I'm sad she lost, but it was an amazing run. It was super dope.
That's really dope. And first thing, tennis might need to reevaluate how tennis does business, because all I hear from a lot of tennis players is that they're mentally, emotionally drained, depressed.
Yes.
This is on the men's side. You heard Djokovic talk about it on the men's side. We all know Naomi Osaka talks about it quite often on the women's side. Mm-hmm. Serena Williams has talked about it. Venus Williams has talked about it. So just in general now, as I heard you like read his quote, I started to think, like, I know it's an individual sport and that's a lot of pressure because sports puts a lot of pressure on your shoulders, even for a team sport. But something about what's going on in tennis, it feels like everyone's depressed, and I don't know, not everyone, but it feels like I hear a lot of people talking about mental and emotional wear and tear on them, that they need breaks or they need to get away or it's tough. That's the first, like, just hearing you say that about Djokovic. And then secondly, Emma, boo-boo, Emma, when these tennis players win, I don't know what they be doing. I would have started crip walking. I would have started shouting. their prize money be like $2.5 million out here. So it's different in tennis. We don't win no championships in basketball where you win and I'm talking women's basketball, where you win a $2.5 million bonus for winning.
At 18.
At 18.
At 18.
Baby.
18
I'm tell you
years
what,
old.
they handle it so well. I saw one tear drip down her face as, she was... I'm going to tell you right now, I would have acted a fool up there. Don't let me win that $2.5 million in one tournament. You might not see me for a couple years. I know a lot of them, Jason, you have a feeling about that, but that's a lot of money to win at one time. Congrats to Emma.
Anything with more than one comma in it is a lot of money.
100%.
Anything with a comma in it, I love. 2 commas in it, amazing. I will say, back to what you were saying about the pressure and the wear and tear and the stress. Chris Everett, after the women's match, after the women's final, said, I'm going to paraphrase now, but like something to the effect of, I hope these young ladies, because, when you have something like this, tennis seems to be a sport where teenagers break through with more regularity than in other sports. And when that happens, especially when all of a sudden they're in finals, you hear a lot of the future of the sport, the future of the sport, the future of the sport isn't good. That's a lot to put on an 18 and a 19-year-old. And Chris Everett said after the game, she was like, I hope they have people around them that allow them to be teenagers, that insulate them from all of the things and just allow them to be kids. And it got me thinking, again, tennis is a sport where people break through young. Monica Seles, Chris Everett herself, Tracy Austin, Roddick, like a lot of teenagers break through. Naomi Osaka, Coco Gauff. But it's becoming rarer and rarer that these teens have long careers. Like, it just seems like, Coco Gauff is a great example of somebody who like broke through and then has kind of faded away. And I don't know what the answer is, but I do wonder what it is about tennis that, one, allows young people to break through, which is exciting and fun, but then also seems to burn them out so quickly. Because it really does seem like, Naomi will likely have a long and great career. That said, I think where we are now, if she decided to step away for 8 months or a year or some amount of time, no one would blink, right? So what is it that is burning people out this quickly? I don't know the answer.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know what's burning the players out, but now imagine a tennis world who, on the women's side, is fighting to get viewership. No Serena Williams, no Naomi Osaka. Naomi Osaka was one of those crossover type athletes where people might not like tennis, but they love Naomi Osaka, so they're going to watch tennis.
Tiger Woods.
They know her. Tiger Woods. So even those players, it's even a little bit deeper than that for tennis, because if you had these childhood teen stars that you're banking on being your future star, and all of them are starting to burn out quick, take breaks, are mentally struggling, that's why I said tennis has to figure out the business of tennis and maybe how to do it a certain way that the athletes don't get so burnt out, because burnt out athletes isn't good for viewership. It's not good for the athlete. It's not good for the sport. And I don't know, there's something about tennis. And even when you look at a Djokovic, he's one of those guys that a lot of people talked about Serena Williams' outbursts. He has a lot of outbursts too. He throws a lot of tantrums right there in front of everyone to see. And I know that on the men's side, it's not judged as harshly as on the women's side, but
to put it lightly,
I was trying to put it nicely, but he's somebody that we watch him melt down on a regular. And I'm not saying that there is that, Jason, but the point I'm trying to make is that these athletes are melting down right in front of us. Like, we're watching them. We watched Naomi Osaka go through it. We've seen Serena Williams go through it. And we literally watch these tennis stars literally go through it. We watch them break down mentally on the tennis court right there. And so that doesn't usually happen in sports like basketball, where a player might be on the bench going off, but the camera's at the game. So you don't necessarily see them losing it on the bench. Tennis players don't have anywhere to hide. Yeah,
it is on the one hand compelling. Like, I remember one of my favorite matches when I was a kid watching tennis was Michael Chang beating Yvonne Lendl at the French, when Michael Chang's he was 5'4" 6. I don't know. I'm whatever I'm saying. He was shorter than everybody else, and he was having like these cramps, and so he had to serve underhand, and then Lendl like just should have beat him, but he just melted down in his own mind. Like he was unable to cope with whatever it was. And that is compelling to watch when you can see that something is not working, and that feeling of, I don't have an answer. It's a compelling watch. On the other hand, for athletes who are 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, I can't imagine like a life where you can't even share. There's not a teammate that can like put their arm around you or anything. Like you're just there. That's you just melting down in front of everybody, in front of the entire crowd.
And you're not even supposed to talk to your coach, by the way. Like, you know what I mean? Like the weird thing about tennis is, even while I know they do it, but the fact that the way it's shaped and framed, you're not supposed to. But
you're not supposed
who else are you supposed to talk to when you're melting down? You can't figure it out. You need a strategy. You need help. It's like tennis really puts tennis players on an island. It's time for the buzzer beaters, where we talk the stories we didn't cover on the show because of time. And I want to start with Jason, Jackson State and Deion Sanders. I know it was a little tricky in the beginning with the coach thing and call me coach and all this and that. But when I tell you, watching how Jackson State was on the sidelines, they had Terrell Owens there. Imagine being the players that went to that HBCU and you have these NFL legends on the sidelines coaching you, and then also just dropping in to show their support at the game. Deion Sanders, if y'all didn't see the locker room pregame turn up where he tells them to play that thing and he starts to dance, I'm telling you right now, coaches like that, if HBCUs continue that culture of getting dope coaches that are from the NFL that are leading the brand, it's going to change everything for that landscape. So I loved seeing what happened with Jackson State. They even got the win. But just what's happening in HBCUs, my parents went to one, my sisters went to one, so I'm just so here for that. What you got, Jason?
The TV show Survivor is coming back soon. I'm a big Survivor fan, as evidenced by my creation of Take Survivor, which has, again, nothing to do with the official Survivor program. I'm just mentioning it. And so I've been rewatching some of the seasons, just some of my favorite seasons, just to get ready. And I've been watching season 37, Davids versus Goliath. And let me just say, for those of you who are like, my dad used to watch this, and my grandma used to watch this show, I haven't thought about this show for 20 years, or I don't like reality TV, blah, 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 blah. If you want to get in and just kind of see what it's like, season 37, Davids versus Goliath, is great. Super fun cast, really fun gameplay. All the characters are awesome. There's some really fun strategic play, and I don't want to spoil anything else. I'll just say it's one of the best seasons of all time, and certainly one of the greatest recent seasons. And it's a really, really, really fun watch. If you want to watch it as pure entertainment, as just kind of like a stand-in for sports that you don't think too deeply about, you can watch it like that. If you want to watch it as like a show that reveals something about people's true personalities, their true natures, you can watch it like that. If you want to watch it as like a strategic show, you can do that. It's just a really, really fun season. Check it out. That's it for us. Follow and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and check out my new podcast, X-Ray Vision, where I dive into the highly anticipated premiere of Why the Last Man, and MCU star Simu Liu joins us to talk about his experience making Marvel's latest box office success, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Follow X-Ray Vision on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Goodbye.